people are stupid. They have a tendency to read the titles of YouTube videos and then immediately hop into the comment section and feverishly type out their response to this travesty that they've read, without actually watching the video. And it's very hilarious. Also, when actually watching a video, people have about a 2-minute memory. So if you get a 10-minute video and you put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video, by the end of the video, people will have forgotten the disclaimer at the beginning. It's amazing. Either way, this video is a direct follow-up to the previous video I did, where I talked about the Steam algorithm and how Steam has infinite games. Let's just break into it. So as we know, with the ushering in of Steam Direct, Steam has become an open platform. It allows for an infinite number of games. No one will be turned down for their game unless the game is found to be inappropriate by the standards of sexual content or, the basic things that stop your game from getting sold in certain countries. You see, people who watched my previous video where I explained Jim Sterling doesn't understand Steam now, they thought it was some kind of tacit endorsement of what Valve is doing. It's not. But they somehow think that my explaining Valve's steps and what Valve's mentality is somehow saying they're right. They're not right. Neither is YouTube and neither is iTunes. So let's get this started. Jim Sterling, he is a YouTuber, former games media, who started off attacking the Steam Greenlight system and how it was allowing things onto Greenlight which really were suboptimal, usually garbage games. Not just garbage games, but no effort games. What he referred to as asset flips. Steam would call those fake games. Just like visual novels, which Steam thought weren't going to sell at all, it turns out both visual novels and fake games sold. Not to unsuspecting people who were deceived, but rather to people who wanted the Steam trading cards or just wanted to pad the number of games on their Steam account. They were willing to pay for these fake games. So Jim Sterling, DX Fan, a few other people would go on to buy games specifically for the purposes of reviewing them and showcasing what has actually gotten onto Steam in order to build up outrage as these terrible travesties have come to exist. However, proportional to their coverage was an increase in sales. Other people followed suit and bought those just to mess around in them or to leave a nasty comment on the page and downvote the product. Either way, Valve initially thought, how do we deal with these games? They're selling. Obviously, there's a market. Obviously, someone's buying them. And as a result of getting all this coverage and being pushed to the forefront, the games endured in their own category under Steam. Now, during the Steam Greenlight days, it was very, very common for a legitimate game to have hours and hours put into development. A finished product that someone may have devoted a year or more of their life to making. This game cannot, for the life of them, get on Steam. But fake games, using schemes like trading CD keys and gifts and lotteries, prizes, these managed to gamify the Steam Greenlight process and were voted quickly into existence on Steam. And for every one of these substandard, pretty awful games that made it onto Steam, most of them sold. Didn't sell incredibly well, but considering the cost to host a game that was maybe 2 or 3 megabytes, it cost Valve nothing, and there was a client base there. They sold cards. Those cards made money. From a corporate standpoint, this is justified. Unfortunately, in the early time of Greenlight, Steam was still mostly an exclusive platform. The idea that if you got onto Steam, you got, a couple days on that front page. That time is over. With the advent of Steam Direct, they've torn down that exclusive platform and they've opened it up to everybody. It would be like if YouTube only allowed certain videos to be uploaded and then went to the platform they have now where everyone gets to upload videos. Now, in this open platform, someone like Jim Sterling saying, well, this game has no right existing on the Steam platform, he may say that, but that's like saying, well, this video doesn't have any commentary in it, it's just gameplay. It's going to cut into the views that should be going to people who actually comment on their gameplay. The people who actually put effort into commenting on their gameplay, they are working hard to produce quality content, and therefore they should be getting the exposure, not this person who put no effort into it. Do you see where that argument goes? It's an open platform. People choose what content they want to see, and discoverability on YouTube is next to nothing, really. Just like discoverability on Steam is next to nothing because Steam is now an open platform. Steam provides the file hosting, provides the credit card transactions, provides workshop support, Steamworks integration, if required, and so many other small services. But alas, the concept of discoverability, that went out the window. And so now, again, as I said in the previous video, anytime Jim Sterling comments on a terrible, terrible game that is on Steam, it's akin to saying the ocean is damp and trees sometimes have leaves on them and the dirt is dusty if you kick it. At the end of the day, Valve has found their system. It's the way they want to run things. And the indignation of people like Jim Sterling caused Steam Direct to exist in the first place. The unfairness of the system brought up by Jim Sterling was part of the reason why they said, you know what, we're just going to let everyone have a shot. Now, with social media being what it is, and with influencers existing on the internet, I absolutely despise that term, but it is unfortunately apt in this situation. The question is, how does an indie developer push for their product that no longer appears on the front page of Steam, because the front page of Steam is now entirely algorithm generated. It's up to the individual developers to get their content pushed forward. Now, when I mentioned some of this in my previous video, people flipped out and thought I was advocating the algorithm, that I was saying the algorithm works. I simply stated this is the intended result of the algorithm. I believe about 6 people by the end contacted me and told me about how the algorithm doesn't work at all, how they see crap all the time, whereas about 14 people confirmed to me that the algorithm is working for them, that people who have brand new Steam accounts, after a week or two of picking exactly what they wanted, that it picked up on that. You know, when I'm interested in this, follow that. I'm not interested in that. And then bought a couple games. After all that, the algorithm learned what they liked, and they haven't seen anything bad on their pages. Likewise, I, when I'm properly logged in, don't see things... I don't see fake games on my actual Steam. I do see more shooters now that I've looked at a few, but for the most part, it seems like people who are more prone to clicking on and viewing the pages of fake games, like the comments section or video description of a Jim Sterling Jimpressions video. If they're logged into their Steam account, when they view that page, Steam says, oh, you're interested in this type of thing, and it makes a note of that. I never said this was a good thing. I merely said this is how the system works at present, and will likely continue to work in the future. YouTube is a similar way. I know that one day I viewed a angry video game nerd Polybius video. It was a Halloween special. And the next time I watched a video to completion, it recommended to me tons of angry video game nerd videos, because that's how YouTube works. It checks out what you've looked at, and it tries to offer more of that for you, which is contrary to what some people are saying. Some people are literally saying the algorithm does not work for them. And I contemplate that, as it is directly opposed to my experience, where the algorithm almost always works, opposed to the experiences of several of my friends, especially those with newer Steam accounts. Obviously, if you aren't logged into Steam, the algorithm isn't really working that hard. It will probably just serve up whatever. But that's a whole nother problem. My point here is that the whole crusade to clean up Steam is done. And the complete opposite of what it set out to do was what was implemented. Remember when I mentioned iTunes before? iTunes is really ridiculous. I haven't had an Apple product in some time. However, when I did, and I downloaded a song from a specific band, it saw fit to offer up not only every single other song that band has made, but also everything else in that particular genre. I'm very frugal with the type of music I like. I'll like one particular song in this genre from this band, maybe another song from that genre, but nothing else really. Then some songs over here, definitely some power metal, some, and I like specific songs from specific genres, but there's no one band I listen to everything of. I'm pretty picky about my music. And so the algorithm in iTunes decided arbitrarily that I must love all these things because I listened to that one Evanescence song. I'm not an Evanescence fan, I'm sorry. And heaven forbid you download something for your spouse. Oh my God. I'm sorry I downloaded that country song. I'm so sorry. Please stop showing me country music. But that's what it did. I mean, YouTube is a great example of this. Someone will link me a specific timestamp in a Gigic video. This guy makes commentary on Japanese cartoons. In this case, it was Absolute Depravity, and the guy literally had an existential crisis after watching this, and then he wrote on Twitter, "Anime was a mistake, and so was I." And then he turns off his computer, and that's the joke. But from there, the YouTube algorithm sees fit to show me every other Gigic video, and Digibros videos, and this guy called the Anime Man, and then this really weird channel called Kizuna Ai, who is a voice actress who voice acts a little 3D model of an anime girl who sits in the corner of the screen and does Let's Plays and things like that. The problem is, almost all of this content was served up to me because I supposedly liked Gigic. I obviously watched one of his videos. Except I didn't discover his videos organically. I discovered this particular video because I was watching a 15-second clip in the middle of one of his videos as it was linked to me via a Twitter private message. And it's the same problem with Steam. Most of Steam's discovery doesn't actually happen on the Steam storefront. People tend to go to their favorite YouTubers or a news review site. They may type in Google, top releases for 2017, something like that, and they'll search from there. And that will, unfortunately, according to Steam, add those games to the person's sphere of interest. Algorithms are that bad. What I'm getting at here is that I was never in favor of Steam's current system. But Jim Sterling's Crusade had purpose before Steam Direct, and now he seems to be saying this open platform shouldn't be open. It should be exclusive again. We should deny these people access to it. We should absolutely censor and control what gets put here, which runs contrary to an open platform. Trying to control what content is available on an open platform is absolutely absurd. That would be like trying to take down someone's review because you didn't like what it said. Likewise, he's trying to take down the games because they are, in his opinion, of inferior quality. Well, myself and many of my friends don't get served up those games of inferior quality. If anything, this is a testament to the fact that Steam needs to get its algorithm together, or better yet, let you hit a reset button on your discovery. If such a thing exists, please inform me in the comments section. I would be very interested in seeing what a fresh discovery queue looks like, and then see how it evolves based on your choices. But currently I only have 2 Steam accounts, and they both have Japanese cartoon games on their discovery queue, because I own Japanese cartoon games, and they have first-person shooters, open-world adventure games. They have a good smattering of content. And here's another problem people had with the previous video. They thought that somehow this algorithm was going to create an echo chamber, a bubble where you weren't exposed to anything that you weren't predisposed to see. And in doing so, you would never be able to grow or expand your sphere. This is demonstrably false, as you can browse through the categories manually, and as you add things to your follow list, so too will the front page redesign itself, restructure itself based on what you're following. Additionally, you can get to pages directly if you seek them out on other sources. I think that the Steam front page and the recent releases is fairly well overrated. And while I understand how indie developers kind of relied on it as a crutch, they are ultimately going to have to learn to promote their games in other ways, because Steam has evolved into an open system. Again, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying that this is the fact. This is how Steam has decided they want to operate. Honestly, saying that people make bad games on the internet, we already know that. They used to be called Flash games, but then we have Game Maker and Unity and various other prefab sets, Unreal Engine, so on and so forth, where people can create whatever they want and call it a game. Be it of pre-made assets or combinations of pre-made assets. Did you know that Thomas Was Alone, for example, great game by the way, uses tons of pre-made assets, but it's just stylized and changed in a way that those pre-made assets aren't obvious. Compare that to PUBG, the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which is just a legion of assets thrown into this Unreal Engine map. And you wonder why they were worried that Fortnite was making a Battle Royale mode. Damn right they should be worried. They're closer to an asset flip than anything in the prime gaming space right now. So why don't we crucify them for it? Well, the game is good, it's already on sale, and tons of people play it. There'd be no point in pointing fingers at them and saying, "You're an asset flip!" Even though you can track huge amounts of this game to pre-made Unreal Engine assets. It's still sold on Steam. I think that if you're a fan of Battle Royale, you're gonna like the game no matter what. No one at this point has an authority on what can and can't be on Steam. Only an authority on what should and should not be purchased. And by purchasing it, to showcase it to others, you've created a trend where other people are more likely to get it. Not a whole ton of people, mind you, but just enough. And then, of course, there's the Steam trading card people. But thankfully, the Steam trading cards, there's rules with Steam Direct on how that works now. So it's usually people just looking to pad out their game library and seeing that they can get a $1 or $2 game here and there and just keep padding up the numbers. Tangents aside, on to my final rambling point. And this was a spearhead that someone had, and a few people jumped on the bandwagon, and then the original poster deleted their post. I don't know why. I didn't get a chance to respond to it properly, but the general idea of it was that I wasn't providing a solution for users or indie developers. I wasn't providing a solution to anybody. I was just ranting about it. Indeed, you figured it out. Here's the problem. Remember when all those big-time YouTubers said, I'm going to vid.me, or I'm going to Vimeo, or I'm going to this or that. I mean, look at Channel Awesome and that guy with glasses, the nostalgia critic. He went on to another service, didn't do so well. In fact, the whole company kind of didn't pay people, as I heard it. Whether it's true or not, they went to YouTube, they founded Channel Awesome. Very, very often, the only solution people can come up with is get on a competitor. Choose competitors and sign on with them. Unfortunately, there is no competitor quite like YouTube. Just like there's no competitor quite like Steam, except for GOG for older games. Kind of awkward if you already have a Steam library counting about 900 games like myself. Also, of course, there's the inherent hypocrisy in me saying, well, you should just stop using Steam right now, obviously. Derp. And then me continuing to use Steam because it is the foundation of so much of what I do. I didn't originally buy Unepic on Steam. I bought it on the personal website of the developer. And had I had the opportunity to do that again, I'd probably do that again. The developer, when he got onto Steam, he had to get through the Greenlight process and then through early access, but he managed it, and he gave Steam keys to all the old license holders, which I was very happy about. Unepic, by the way, highly recommend the game. For all those who are saying you can't criticize something if you yourself don't offer up a solution, I'm saying I'm not wise enough, I'm not smart enough to have that answer. I can identify a problem, Steam being too bloated, but is it really a problem for an open marketplace? Have games stopped selling? Have we seen a backlash where indies are now suffering as a result of this? And which indies are suffering? If you are an indie and this change to Steam Direct, this flood of games has influenced you negatively, I would like you to come forward and we can talk about it. I would be happy to talk about the fact that your game has been impacted by this. But at present, Steam has no obligation to help out indie developers. They should, because the more indie products that sell, the better the platform prospers. But I don't see any evidence of the platform falling apart right now. Can we find a solution, an alternative to Steam? Something that gets indie developers paid. There used to be a service known as Desura, but it utterly failed. Why it utterly failed, I haven't done research into it yet. But it's something to think about. Something I will probably look into fairly soon, because I'm curious about that solution. But it's very easy to demand, how dare you criticize this person without offering a solution to your criticisms? I've certainly offered my interpretations of what would fix things, like Skyrim, although looking back on those, I could probably rewrite those even better than I did. I made one fatal mistake with my What If Skyrim Was Good series, and that was I was adhering too closely to the games. I tried to keep the original structure of the game as close to it was, when I could very easily abandon the entire Dragonborn concept and run with classic Nordic lore instead, and tell a Nord's story instead of a Skyrim Civil War, you are the Dragonborn Fus Ro Dah story. Nothing is beyond improvement. And this is doubly true with the current condition of the Steam platform. I'm not saying they were smart to make it an open platform, but the damage is done. And revoking that open platform status, that probably wouldn't be a good idea at this point. They need to refine their algorithm and actually make it work for everybody, not just for me, not just for the 14 people I talked to, but for the 5 people who told me that the algorithm was complete wank and wouldn't work for them. Those people need to be addressed as well. And Jim Sterling's algorithm probably needs a reset, because he's been looking for this stuff for so long. He is a confirmed purchaser of fake games. There's no way the algorithm doesn't want him to buy more of those games. So they will be served up to him. I don't know why those other people who've never looked at or bought an asset flip before get served up them all the time on the discovery queue, but that seems to happen for them. I know there are a lot of people who say they are disinterested in anime, and every time they get an anime game, they click the not interested button, and despite that, they are offered up more anime. I believe that is a concern that Valve needs to address, because whilst I am interested in anime, whilst my wife is interested in anime, I can definitely see why other people are not. And they have this stigma where, ooh, this is anime style, I must kill it. So, absolutely. I am in total agreement there. So that about wraps this up. I am firm in what I'm saying, where no matter what Jim Sterling says, Steam will not change. If he wants to be the world's best curator of bad games, that's something he can aspire to. But it's not going to change the platform. His previous arguments, his previous disputes, all of it have led to this. He was instrumental in causing Steam's transformation into what it is now. You made your bed, now you gotta lie in it. The question is, what do we do from here? Do we continue to attack specific developers for putting their stuff on the platform? Or do we let them fade into obscurity? And instead, we focus on Valve. And we start giving our feedback to Valve, telling Valve, my queue is unacceptable. I want you to look at it. I need help getting a discovery queue that is not utter trash. And I think that changing our focus to Valve instead of these little ants scurrying about in what is essentially an open place where anyone can come in or go as they see fit, Valve is the better target. Talk to Valve, convince Valve. That's my opinion. Thank y'all for watching. Check the links on screen for more content, and I will see y'all next time.
The alien world of Myr is being devoured by dark water. Only Ren, a young prince, can stop it by finding the lost 13 treasures of Rule.